welcome back to the No Score Review Show, where we have in-depth critique and nuanced discussion of some of the latest movies, video games, and television. I am your host, Nick Green, and today we are discussing our review for The Creator. I say our, today is actually also a solo review. I'm on my own yet again for this film. This will be a spoiler-free review. I won't give away any plot details or any specific things that happen in the movie. I will go over a couple spoiler-free like highlights and lowlights, but we'll kind of just start off with like my general thoughts and my expectations going in. But also feel free to let me know what you thought of the movie down in the comments below, or you can tag me on all the socials at No Score or at No Score Reviews. And without further ado, let's get right into it. My expectations for The Creator going in, I was quite excited. I watched the trailer when it first came out, and I love me some original sci-fi. It like is playing within some well-worn sci-fi tropes and conventions of the genre, but it's still like a wholly original concept, if only in the fact that it's not connected to like a big franchise or like it's not a spin-off, an adaptation or a sequel or prequel or anything like that. It is wholly its own. It's a contained story, which is great, and we don't seem to get enough of those nowadays. But I was really amped up for that on that concept alone. But yeah, it definitely was playing within those well-worn conventions, and kind of my just general thoughts overall. I kind of came away from this film not feeling much by the end of it. It is certainly one of the best looking films and sounding films of the year that I have seen. It is like very stunning visually. I actually got to go see it at an IMAX early screening, and I think the IMAX theater definitely enhanced it. Like, I think this was actually worth seeing on the big screen and in a theater environment. The soundscape is like just next level, like the sound mixing, and the cinematography is wonderful, and just like the effects work as well. Like Gareth Edwards, the director and writer, has like a visual effects background, so he clearly knows his stuff. And yeah, I thought that was probably the most impressive part of the film. There is definitely like lots of action in the movie, and there are like some emotional beats, but like I don't know what it was for me. I just didn't connect with the characters on the level that I think they were wanting me to. And just like the set pieces overall felt like pretty unremarkable. There's like a couple cool like vehicle designs, and like the gun designs are really cool. Just the whole like art direction of the film is really stunning. I like a lot of people are comparing it to Neil Blomkamp's style, kind of like a grungy sci-fi cyberpunk esque design, which I would agree with. It's definitely not as like dirty. It's also, if any of you have played the Destiny games from Bungie, they have a similar aesthetic to that at times as well. But yeah, I just kind of came away not really feeling anything for the characters. The performances overall, like the little girl in the trailers, the simulant, I think they're called, the quasi like AI robot human android people in this film. The little girl that John David Washington's character Joshua discovers definitely turned in the best performance for me. She like did a like phenomenal job with the like she I think she carried most of the emotional weight of the film and bared most of that burden, and I think she handled it very well. I think it's also apparently her first film, so just like bravo to her, props to her. I hope she continues to get some solid roles because she clearly deserves them. But the rest of the cast, honestly, kind of wasted. There's a lot of like heavy hitters in this film. Gemma Chan, like, just kind of felt wasted overall. And John David Washington, I'm still not really sold on him as an actor. I haven't seen all of his filmography, but like was pretty unremarkable in Tenet, but I don't know that that was necessarily his fault. Uh, I liked him in Black Klansman. I have only seen that once, but I think his role was kind of played more like dry humor. And he was also just kind of supposed to be this like hip, cool dude, wasn't saying a ton type of character. So yeah, I still am not quite sold. He's able to like demonstrate some emotional moments, but I still don't think it might have been more the script yet again that just underserved his performance because I didn't quite buy into his character's whole arc for the film. It's pretty like paint by numbers, kind of like a generic. Like the entire film, I think, is overall pretty generic, but this aspect in particular, I think, was one of those kind of classic character arcs without going into spoilers or anything. One of those like very like beat by beat, like you've seen it before in other movies and it's been done better before. So yeah, that was kind of unremarkable. Cast overall was kind of a waste, I think. And yeah, like Ken Watanabe is in there, but he also doesn't provide a ton. Like he lends a certain like gravitas to his character, and that was like cool. But I mean, his character is also kind of in the background for most of the film. Like he pops up here and there, so yeah, and then Allison Janney, like I love her in some of her other work, but like again, her character was just kind of written pretty generic. It kind of felt very close. Like I mean, a few of these characters honestly felt close to like James Cameron type characters, like kind of archetypical and just kind of generic overall, but just didn't have that kind of flair that Cameron brings to his characters either. So yeah, I don't know. Didn't quite connect with them emotionally. And then yeah, the effects work was amazing, but just none of the action really stood out to me. I really liked the aesthetic of the entire film, but yeah, it there just wasn't much else, I don't think, that like stuck with me. I felt like pretty almost on the verge of like checking my watch territory. Like the film isn't like super long. It's over the 2 hour mark. It is like 2 hours 14 minutes. So sizable amount of time, and the pacing just kind of felt off. Plus that the entire third act as well just kind of felt like very disjointed. The pacing of it overall felt very strange, and a little bit tedious, like we're trying to wrap up some threads here and there when it could have been maybe more a little bit more concise. But yeah, that's kind of all I really have to say, I think, about the creator. It's a weird one for me because like I love what it's trying to do, and I really hope ironically, I hope it does well, if only for the like prospect of getting more of these types of films where it's like these smaller budget, wholly original concept genre movies coming out, with like amazing like visual and special effects, and like cool action. Like the action was cool, but it just wasn't quite reaching the highs that I've seen in some of like just this year alone in other films. So but I do want it to do well, and I do think it is worth the theater experience still overall. So maybe it might be more of like a cheap ticket day type of situation, or if you're a part of like I'm here in Canada, part of the Cineclub membership with Cineplex. I think if you have your free ticket there, I definitely think it's worth using that on this one, especially with just some of the other releases coming out around this time of year. I think it's definitely worth your money to go see like an original concept action sci-fi film. But yeah, I will potentially revisit this in the future just to see how it grows on me, or if it doesn't at all. I would say like ultimately, if you're really trying to pinch pennies, don't bother going to the theater to see this. Maybe catch it on streaming. But if you do have the means, and it's not going to hurt you too much, hurt your wallet too much, then go check this out for the amazing theater experience, I would say. So yeah, that's kind of where we're going to wrap this up. Another pretty short review overall. These typically are shorter reviews for the solo ones. So yeah, thank you all so much for listening and watching to this episode of the No Score Review Show. You can continue to stick around wherever you're doing so on YouTube or your favorite podcast listening services. It's kind of been a quiet couple weeks as of recording this review. I'm still currently attending the Vancouver Film Festival. So I might have a recap of that coming later in October, going over kind of my highlights and lowlights of the festival with some of my past guests as well that are attending it. So stick around for that. And also, as of recording this review, it is officially October. So spooky season is upon us. I will be going to see and review some more spooky movies, hoping to maybe try and fit in a Saw X review. I won't make too much of a promise on that one, but some of the later films, spooky films in particular, coming out this month, I will be reviewing. So stick around for those. Like Exorcist Believer is coming very soon. Five Nights at Freddy's as well as also the on the non-spooky side, Martin Scorsese's new film Killers of the Flower Moon will be getting review on the channel. So stick around for all of that. We'll be doing a finally another episode of the No Score re-review show. I'm hoping to re-review the original Exorcist movie before Exorcist Believer comes out. So once again, stick around for that. Otherwise, you can find me on all the socials, as I mentioned at the top of the show. Let me know what you thought of the creator in the comments below or on your chosen social media site. You can find me there on all of those at No Score or at No Score Reviews. You can also find me on Letterboxd to see some of my written reviews that don't make it to the YouTube channel or the podcast services. And yeah, just once again, thank you so much for watching and listening, and we will see you in the next review. Bye bye.